chest. "Can I go to bed at the same time as Katie?" "No," said the king. "You can go to bed at that time when you're 9, like Katie." "Watch it, shrimp," teased Katie. "You're still my little brother." Alfie put his head on one side. A huge smile spread over his face. "So I'll be a big brother and a little brother," he said. "I like it." "Can we help with the nursery makeover?" asked Katie. "You certainly can," said the Queen. "Mrs. Phillips is up there now, making a list of what needs to be done." "Let's go and tell the kittens about the new baby before we go to the nursery," said Katie, as she and Becky left the room. Princess Katie told her kittens everything. They were brilliant listeners, and she was sure they understood. When the girls reached the boot room, where the kittens slept, they all rushed over. "Hello, Pixie. Hello, Poppy. Hello, Suki." Katie bent to stroke the tabby, the tortoiseshell, and the little white kitten, all pushing at her leg. "Hello, Bella," she added as the black and white kitten nudged the other leg. "Where's Ruby?" "Here," said Becky, as a silver grey and white kitten jumped out of the king's walking boot. With the kittens gathered around her, Katie told them about the new baby. Then she gave them a fishy biscuit each from the treats jar to celebrate the good news. "Next stop, the nursery," said Katie, putting the treats back in the cupboard. Ruby, the silver grey kitten with the 4 white paws, swallowed the last mouthful of her fishy biscuit. It was so tasty she could eat another 2 at least. But Princess Katie had put the jar away, and she was walking towards the door. Ruby ran after her. "Wait!" Ruby squeaked. Katie was so excited about the new baby that she didn't notice the little cat follow them out of the room. On silent paws, the kitten followed Katie and Becky along the wide hall. She was glad they took the spiral staircase to go upstairs and not the lift. That made her tummy go funny. At the top of the stairs, the girls walked along the corridor and went into the room at the end. Ruby stood in the doorway and peered inside. The room was bright and sunny, but it hadn't been used for a long time. The air smelt old and dusty. It made Ruby's nose twitch, but curiosity got the better of her. She followed Katie and Becky into the room, where Mrs. Phillips was writing in a notebook. A ray of sunlight sliced through the window and onto the floor. Ruby pounced, her paws sliding through the light and sinking into the rug. It was so soft that Ruby had a sudden urge to roll. She flipped onto her back and rocked from side to side. That felt good. Ruby nuzzled her face on the floor, loving the bouncy feel. She rolled again, then stretched out in an extra sunny patch in the middle of the room. It was the perfect place for a nap. "Oh, no, you don't!" A shadow fell over Ruby. She stared up lazily. Mrs. Phillips stared back at her. Firmly, but gently, she scooped Ruby up until they were face to face. Ruby tried to wiggle free, but it was impossible. Mrs. Phillips carried her to the door where she put her down. "Shoo," she said, clapping her hands. "Kittens are not allowed in the nursery." Chapter 2. Cheese and Chocolate. The door shut with a bang. Ruby stared up at it indignantly. That wasn't very friendly. Why couldn't she stay? She glared at the closed door, then stalked along the hall towards the stairs. She passed a tall window with long green curtains. The curtains rustled as she brushed by. Ruby spun round and cuffed them. The curtains billowed out, and Ruby batted them away. It was such fun. She jumped and pounced at the curtains for ages, until at last she was worn out. She stared up at the window ledge. It was wide and sunny, the perfect place for a rest. If she waited here, then Princess Katie might carry her back to the boot room. Ruby bunched her muscles, wiggled her bottom, and sprang. She landed neatly in the middle of the windowsill. She turned so that she could see the nursery door. That was better. She was very tired now. Ruby settled down with her head on her paws to wait for Katie. Princess Katie had been surprised to see Ruby in the nursery. "Sorry, Mrs. Phillips. Ruby must have followed us out of the boot room. We'd better take her back." On her way to the door,